Hi everybody, welcome to this verbling class with me. My name's Amy, and today I'm going to be bringing back a class on part of a series called Best of British Culture, which I haven't done for a while, but I thought we might talk about the royal family today. So not just about the royal family of the UK, although we will read a bit about it and learn a bit about it because it does play quite an important role in our culture, even though the royal family, well, you could argue that they don't have a lot to do with how things go on. I think they're still quite an important part of the UK culture. We'll also discuss what you guys think about it. Is it a bit sort of old-fashioned to still have a monarchy, and what do you think of royal families? Are they a waste of time and money? Also, do you have a royal family in your country? I know there are still some European nations and some other nations that have kings and queens and such. So come along in if you'd like to learn a bit about the British royal family, talk about it, what we think about it, and then share your own opinions about your own country or other countries or whatever you like. So it'll be a speaking class today with a little bit of reading to get us going. Excuse me. Okay, so what I want to do first of all before we get started is actually just tell you about 2 pages that you can visit in some spare time that you have. The first of the 2 links there in the chat box is my Facebook page. So do click on that, follow me if you'd like. I just keep you up to date with what's going on, share things that I find during the week that are particularly interesting. Sometimes you can get in touch with me, you can write comments, leave messages, everything that you normally do on Facebook. And if you are the type of person who's often on Facebook, it's a good idea to like some of the verbling teachers so that you can be reminded of your English learning as you waste time on Facebook during the week. Alright, the second link is my verbling teacher page, and that is where you will find all the information you need about a teacher. So both a bit about who they are, and their experience, what kind of teacher they are, etc. But also their upcoming classes and also private tutoring sessions. So you can see their calendar. If you're interested in private tutoring, you can book a session from there. And you can get in touch with us with messages if you have any questions about anything. So let's see who we've got today. We're going to be discussing the British royal family. It's going to be a speaking class with a little bit of reading. So I'm going to say hi to Ahmad. Hello, Ahmad.
Hello, teacher. How are you? I am fine.
Good,
And
thank
you?
you. I'm very good. You answered your own question, Ahmad.
Yes.
How's everything since yesterday? Have you had a good day?
Yes, it's okay.
Excellent. What have you done? Tell me one thing you did today.
Today
Did
I
you
am
work?
studying.
You studied all day?
Studied. Yes. Yeah.
And English or something else?
Yes. No, no, no. English, English. Only English.
You're single focused.
Yes.
That's very good to hear, Ahmad. Has it been a successful day? Do you feel like you've accomplished something today?
Yes.
Okay, well that is great news. Welcome to the class. I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to ask you about your picture, Ahmed. There's a cartoon, right, of a guy with like kind of orange
Yeah.
hair. He doesn't look anything like you, does he? Is that what you look like in real life?
Yeah, I like it.
All right, welcome to
Same
the
my
class.
face.
Yeah, have you got the same hair as him?
Yes.
All right. This is the cartoon version of you. Welcome to the class, Ahmed. Who came
Thank
second?
you.
I think it was maybe Omar. Hello, Omar.
Hello, teacher.
You haven't got a picture, Omar. All I can see is a black square. Is it deep space?
Yeah,
All right. How are you? How's everything going?
I'm fine, thank you. Everything is
Good.
good. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you very much. Have you
Good.
been studying hard lately? Is your English studying going well?
Excuse me?
How is your English studying going?
It's good.
Yeah? All right. That's good
Yes.
to know. Well, welcome to the class, Omar.
Thank you.
Raphael, how are you doing today?
Hi, Amy. I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for asking. What about you?
Do you get bored of saying the same thing at the beginning of every class?
Sorry.
It's okay, I totally understand. It's just sort of like the niceties that you have to go through. But it doesn't exactly stretch your English, does it? Let me ask you another question. What is the most important thing to have at a birthday party?
Well, I don't know, teacher. So many things. It depends. Let me see. A birthday cake,
Okay,
or
you agree with Edson. He said a cake in the chat box.
uh, a birthday.
All right, it's important to have a birthday. Fair enough, yeah. Okay, what kind of cake do you like, Raphael? Chocolate? Banana?
Chocolate, vanilla, or carrots. I don't know.
Carrot, yeah. I'm a big fan of carrot cake, actually. Is cake popular in Brazil?
Yes, it's popular.
All right. It seems, I don't know, I've always thought cake is kind of like a Western thing. Maybe that's because they don't really have cake in Asia, but they do have it in Brazil. You can find it easily. Lots of people eat it.
Yes.
All
Everything
right.
is sugar with like.
Yeah.
That's why we are. That's why we are fat and
Of
we
course.
we are not healthy. We love sugar and fat food.
No, that's not the stereotype of Brazilians that Western people see, Raphael. Oh, we see kind of like slim girls in very, very skimpy bikinis playing volleyball on the beach. Not
That's
fat.
what you watch on TV. But if you come to Brazil, you will see the truth, the awful truth.
Oh no, that's put me off. All right, welcome to the class.
Thanks.
Edson, hello.
Hello, teacher
I like
Amy.
your ideas.
That's
Xander.
a little bit crazy.
No, I think it looks like a good party.
Yeah, with alcohol. Yeah,
Of
but
course.
I don't think it's necessary. But in most of the parties have alcohol.
That's true, yeah. Well, how are you, Edson? And you've got a picture of, what is his name? Stewie, I think,
It's
from
too.
Family Guy.
Yeah.
You know, he freaks me out. He's weird.
Why?
Because he has like an adult's voice and he's like all evil.
Yeah, but it's too smart. It's a good
Yeah, okay.
character.
But he's like a baby. It's kind of weird.
And he's
Anyway.
British.
I
People,
know! Do you know how
yeah.
they always, all of the evil characters in any movie you ever see is British? It's so unfair.
But he's not just evil. He has a good heart sometimes,
Oh,
and he's so
oh.
smart. And yeah, I like the way he is.
All right. And you've got him riding a tricycle, I believe.
Yeah, well, I just picked this picture on the internet. I thought that it's the most suitable for the occasion, I guess.
All right. Well, welcome to the class, Edson.
Thank you.
Aldona, welcome back. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you? How are you, teacher?
I'm very well, thank you. I really like the picture of your little dog. It's cute. How's your studying going, Aldona?
Well, it's sometimes regular, sometimes it goes well,
Has
sometimes
ups and
not.
downs.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's pretty. All right. Well, it's good to have you back. Sorry, I could just hear a little bit of echo there. So please make sure you wear headphones, guys, if you can. It just makes it much easier for everybody to hear. What we're going to be doing is talking about the royal family today. So I just want to ask you, before we read anything, I'm sure that you guys know something about the British royal family. So just tell me, what is it? What stereotypes jump out at you? What facts do you know? What comes into your mind when I say the British royal family? Is it posh accents? Is it, I don't know, maybe Prince George, who was born not long ago, last year actually, it was quite a while ago now. Just give me anything you like about what pops into your head when I say the British royal family. So, Omar, you first. Silence.
Yeah, well, I hear when I hear royal family, of course, I think in a Polish accent, and I also don't understand. Well, actually, I don't know if people continue paying for this, like in taxes or something.
Mhm.
Yeah? Do you
You know
still
what?
paying for that?
Yeah, we I believe yes, I think so, but it's very regulated. So the royal family's not particularly free to do whatever they want, really. Um, in fact, they work really hard. I don't know whether
Mhm.
you know, but the Queen has an event nearly every single day of the year. So she's doing something, she's opening something, or being the ambassador of something every single day of the year. She rarely has a day off. I think she has Christmas off, but she works extremely hard. So it's kind of funny because you don't think of a queen doing that. Well, I didn't. Well, I find that out. But thank you, Edson. Okay, what about Aldona? What do you think about the British royal family, apart from a
Well, I'm
posh
not
accent?
very, yes, I'm not very royal, but I liked Prince Diana.
Okay, Princess Diana.
Yes, and I think, mm, well, in my country we don't have king or queens, and I think I would be for republic.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, good. It's just a little bit of brainstorm, guys. We're going to be talking more in depth later. So thank you, Aldona. Raphael, your turn.
About the royal family.
I think your dog wants to say something.
Maybe. I don't know. Uh, well, it's very traditional.
Mhm.
Since the beginning of UK, there's a royal family, and I think and they are really respected throughout the world. Due to the traditional, because since I mentioned, Britain is a very traditional country, and uh, I think they're very respectful.
Okay. All right, that's interesting. It's interesting to get the perspective from an outsider sort of point of view. Um, so I just want to encourage you guys to speak freely this lesson. I won't be offended if you think that UK royal family is a total waste of time. Just I want you to practice your English and tell me what you think. So Omar, are you there still, or have you gone?
Yes, I am here.
Ah, excellent. Omar, what do you think of when I say British royal family?
British.
Can you speak up a bit, Omar? I can't hear you very well.
I'm not speaking. My neighbor is big enough.
Pardon?
Hello?
Hello, I can only just hear you. Can you come closer to your microphone, please?
Okay. But I think when I say rich family, uh, Beckham,
All right, rich family, I think that's true, for sure.
Polish
Anything else?
accent, Polish accent, Elizabeth.
Okay, great. So, Omar, I'm still having a little bit of problems hearing you. It was fine at the beginning of the class. Maybe you can just see if your settings are okay, because I can't hear you that well. All right, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to read a little bit, just to give us a bit of background before we start talking about it. This is quite a cool website because it tells you all about lots of different stuff about the UK. If you actually go to the UK at any point, it's quite a good website to note down because it has loads of really handy information about lots of stuff that could help you. But quite apart from that, it has quite a good section on culture. So we're going to read about the British royal family and talk about it as we go. So use this reading practice just as a chance to really practice your pronunciation and reading fluently. I'll get you to read in turn. So I'm going to get Aldona, if you could begin, please.
Okay, British institution, the British royal family. The British royal family disappeared, has had a turbulent, sometimes bloody, but always fascinating history. The British Isles have been ruled nearly uninterruptedly by a monarch since Offa took the throne in 774 and called himself Rex Anglorum. Continue?
Yes, please.
The United Kingdom of Great Britain, which is the UK as we know it, was formed in 1707 and its first monarch was Queen Anne. 1. Since then, there have been 12 rules of Great Britain and Ireland, changed to Great Britain and Northern Ireland in 1927. The monarchs of England and Great Britain include a great cast of memorable and sometimes infamous characters.
Thank you. All right, we'll pause for a moment, Aldona. Thanks for reading that. Just a note, because we're going to be talking about a lot of different kings and queens. The way that we talk about it in English is we actually would read this Queen Anne the First. Okay, the number that comes after the name is first, second, third, etc. So you have to be
Queen
good at
Anne
Roman
first.
numerals. Okay, you'll a test today. If you don't get them right, don't worry. I'll just chuck you out of the class. No, I'm only kidding. This one here, Aldona, is infamous. Can you see which one I'm highlighting?
Infamous.
Yeah, so not infamous, but infamous.
Infamous. Yes.
The emphasis is on the first syllable, so it doesn't actually sound...
Infamous.
Yeah, that's right. Infamous. Well done. Okay. So infamous means that somebody's famous in a bad way, right? They're not famous for anything good. They're famous for something terrible, most likely. Some facts. Since 774, we've had a royal family, which is quite a long time. And it's true, absolutely true, that some of the characters, I like it the way it calls it characters, because when we're at school we learn about all these different people, and it is kind of fascinating. I'm sure that some of you guys know all about this too. The first question I just want to ask you is, when you're at school and learning history of your country, when you were younger, what sort of history did you learn? I just want to get a really vague idea of that. So Aldona, can you tell me first of all, in Poland, right? Are you there, Aldona? No? Alright, I'm going to go to Edson. Edson, could you remind me where you're from, please?
I'm from Mexico.
Alright, Mexico. Did you grow up in Mexico?
Yep.
Alright, what was history like when you learned about history at school? What did you learn?
Besides really boring, I learned they teach you that, well, they focus on being patriotic. So they tell you all these stories about how we fight against Spain and how well Mexico did in wars against France and United States, and yeah, it's kind of stupid, I guess. But
Alright,
it's
so
the way. Yep.
the aim is to sort of create patriotic citizens, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you learn about history before independence?
Before independence, yeah. Yeah,
Alright.
but it's Yeah, they teach you that, but they teach you that in early, when you're really young, about 6, 7 years. So almost everything it's gone now. I don't remember. And then things I know, it's because I learned things by myself, not because they teach you that kind of, I mean, about the Aztec culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just teach you that for about maybe 1 or 2 years in primary school.
All right. It's interesting to hear what you learn in history in other places because there's so much history in the world. It's sort of like, what does your government decide is good? So that's interesting about Mexico. Let's find out about Brazil from Raphael.
Well, besides Brazilian history, you also study European history since the beginning of civilizations, Middle times, Middle Ages, like history of Greece, Mesopotamia, and also the beginning of Europe, uh, like the foundation of German state and Italy when it started. I think it became a country in the previous century, 19th century. How the all happenings which were predicted the World War One and World War Two.
Mm-hmm.
The in the Industrial Revolution in England, I think it's 17th century. I think 17th or 18th century,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. Mainly linked in European history.
Okay, so you focused a lot on Europe's history. What about this ideal of trying to make this Brazilian citizens patriotic? Do you think Brazil tries to do that with history, like Mexico?
I don't think so. I think in the past it was when I was at school and when I was in primary school. I think schools were more patriotic than nowadays. I think they have changed a little bit the concept of patriotism
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think Brazilians are well interested in patriotism, being patriotic. But yes, I think it changed a lot in the last years.
Okay.
I,
Yeah,
yeah,
didn't want to
yeah, yeah.
interrupt you. All right, it's kind of funny how different countries treat this differently because I'd have to say that in the UK we're really, really unpatriotic. I mean, people don't care really about being part of the UK. We never sing the national anthem. I don't know why it's that. I don't know why certain countries are more than others, but I'd have to say we're much more like Brazil than Mexico. From my perspective, I don't know what it's like going to school there now, but when I was at school, for sure. Aldona, are you there yet? Are you able to join us still? No? She seems to have disappeared. How about you, Omar? Are you there, Omar?
Yes,
Ah, wonderful. Omar, which country are you from?
I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. So can you tell us about Saudi Arabia? When you were at school, what kind of thing did you learn in history?
Mm, okay, we learn about Saudi Arabia, about King Abdulaziz when Saudi Arabia start to, I don't know,
So did you learn,
about, learn
yeah?
about Islam culture.
All right, so religion plays an important role in history, right?
Hmm.
Okay, and what about other parts of the world? Is emphasis placed on Europe or the Americas, or is it mainly about sort of the Arab world that you learn? you still there, Roma? Oh, and he's gone. I think he's having problems. Sorry about that, guys. I'll just say hi to Carlos.
Hi, teacher. Sorry I'm late. Hi, guys.
No problem. Welcome to the class, Carlos. We've just been reading, we just read the introduction of what you can see on the screen, and we've just been talking a little bit about history. What kind of thing you learn in history at your school? Because in England and the rest of the UK, the focus is quite a lot on the kings and queens that ruled our country over the years, and it becomes very difficult to remember all the dates and stuff. And Edson was saying that in Mexico that there's a heavy emphasis on patriotism and how Mexico did well in all of its battles. Brazil looks at a lot of different variety by the sounds of things all over the world. Carlos, I've forgotten which country you're from.
I'm from Brazil too.
All right, so do you agree with Raphael about the history? What do you remember learning at school in history?
Regarding Brazil's history?
Yeah.
Oh, the people who had discovered the country, the Portuguese and so on, and the process of bringing slaves from Africa to here, and all the process of to politicians to get the slave free in 1822, and some dates are really alive in my memory yet.
Don't worry about that, Carlos. Please don't ask me about dates either, because I am horrible at dates. Okay, I'm just going to see if Aldona is back. Aldona, are you there? No? Oh, she's having problems, because I can see 2 of her dogs now. She's cloned them during the last 5 minutes. Okay, what we're going to do is carry on reading about a few of the different kings and queens. So I'm going to get Edson, if you could carry on from Alfred the Great, please. I'm going to zoom in so that we can see it a bit better. There we go.
Okay, Alfred the Great, 871 to 899, the first and only ruler to be given the moniker the Great. Alfred was a well-educated man who improved the country's legal and military system. He is known for his defense of southern England against the marauding kings. The next one too?
Yes, the marauding Vikings.
Marauding Vikings. Okay. William the Conqueror, 1066 to 1087.
Okay, hold on, Edson.
1066 to
yeah, okay,
1066
is because it's a very important date, the one that all British people know.
Okay, William the Conqueror, 1066 to 1087. William I, or William the Conqueror, has, as he is popularly known, was the first Norman king. He invaded England from Normandy in 1066 and was victorious over the English forces at the Battle of Hastings in 1066. William created a feudal state that brought stability and love to England, and a strong government that endured for many years.
Thank you, Edson. Great reading. This is read William the First, okay? Rather than William I. William the First.
Okay, yeah. William the First. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so this guy is very famous. When you're at school, you learn about him. I think the main reason is because he was from France, and there's a kind of age-old tension, shall we say, between France and England. We spent a lot of time in history invading each other, basically, and this guy was actually really great for the country. He did some good stuff, and he's very, very famous because he invaded successfully and ruled us for a little while. Have you guys ever heard of him, William the Conqueror?
Never.
No? Alright, that doesn't surprise me. It's kind of old, 1066.
No.
Altona, you're back! Okay, she was back for a second, and now she's gone again. All right. Okay, what I want to ask you guys now is, who is sort of like the first, maybe the first most famous ruler of your country? The most famous one that you can remember, the first guy who, I don't know, brought your country together, the one you always celebrate, or is there anybody like that in your country? So, Edson, do you remember from your history lessons anything about Mexico? Who's the first guy that you always, I'm guessing it's a guy, not a girl.
Actually, there are lots
Yeah?
because, as I was saying, in school they teach you a lot of stuff about each of them. So you remember one of them because he was so evil, and then you know about the other one because he changed law, or yeah, well, I will talk about Benito Juarez, who
Okay.
is, I don't remember the period of his period,
Mhm.
but he was the president that split the state from the church and made a lot of reforms.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's very well known here in Mexico.
And is he celebrated as sort of a positive influence or a negative influence
It's a
mostly?
po- it's a positive influence because he was also really poor. So he came from the countryside. He was just raising their animals.
Mhm.
He had a farm, I guess, or something, and he ended being the president of Mexico. So
He
it's
ended up. He ended
ended up
up.
being, yeah, being president of Mexico. Yep.
That's a cool story. Beautifully spoken, by the way, Edson. Great
Thank
piece
you.
of speaking you just did there. Okay, Carlos, tell us about Brazil, and we'll see whether Rafael agrees with you. Who is one of the most famous first important guys in your history, according to you?
Pardon me, teacher? More important?
So I was just talking about William the Conqueror. He's probably the first person in history that we learn about as being important, and he did some good stuff. Is there somebody in Brazil that you can think of, maybe a long time ago, a very important, memorable, famous figure?
Uh, no brainer was the Dom Pedro the First. The the history claim that he and the independence of Brazil from Portugal.
Okay, so he's a name that every Brazilian maybe would know. Do you think?
Oh, definitely.
All right, do
At
you agree?
least it's supposed to know.
What about Raphael? Do you agree with that?
Not too much. I didn't like him because it was Portuguese, and Portuguese just stolen for our riches to send to Portugal. That's one of the reasons our debt started to raise since the beginning, since these emperors, I don't know I say, they start their rule here
Mhm.
when he was a colony,
Yep.
and I don't know, I didn't like him. I didn't like Portuguese rulers.
Mhm. I think that's fair enough. I can totally understand why. Um, all right. Good. I like it how you disagree with Carlos. Let's ask Aldona. Are you there, Aldona? No. Poor Aldona. I think she's trying so hard. I don't know why it's not working because she read so beautifully at the beginning of class. All right, Aldona, when you do finally manage to conquer the technological hitches, let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to ask Carlos if you could read, Carlos, please, from Edward II.
Okay. Edward II, 1307 to 1327. Widely believed to be gay or bisexual, Edward II was allegedly murdered horribly in 1327. He was the first person to establish colleges at Oxford and Cambridge, but is best remembered for his resounding defeat at the Battle of the Bennebucker against the Scots, which were then freed from English rule.
Thank you, Carlos. We'll pause there. You had a difficult little time, didn't you? Allegedly murdered horribly.
Allegedly murdered horribly.
Well done. Okay, what does allegedly mean? Does anyone know?
Allegedly.
It's popularly known.
Yep.
Or maybe it's like gossiping.
Yeah, absolutely. It's maybe you could say supposedly. People say that something. It's not proven. It's not proven.
No, it's not proven. Okay.
Yeah.
It's hypothesis.
Yeah. But he was quite cool because he established Oxford and Cambridge, and this was in one of these years, in the 1300s, and these guys are still very famous today and carry on being great places of learning. But what I do want to talk about is the fact that basically he lost against the Scottish, who were freed from English rule. And this is a bit of a current event that's kind of going on in my country at the moment, which we'll look at briefly. Does anyone know what's going on between Scotland and the rest of the UK at the moment?
I think there's a referendum. They're just trying to leave the UK.
Yep, there's going to be a referendum, absolutely. So this is not something new. It's been going on pretty much throughout our history. However, I think now that we're so united, and we have been for a long time, and we're so intertwined with the economy and everything, really, culture, money, it's going to be quite a shock if Scotland decides that they're going to leave the UK. So let's talk about your countries. Is there a part of your country that wants to be independent from the rest of the country at all? Has there ever been? Have you ever had internal conflicts? Do you know? So let's see what Edson has to say about Mexico.
Yeah, currently there's a major issue here in Mexico. There are some crazy people from Michoacan that wants to independent from the rest of the country just because they practice a different religion. It's basically the same thing, but they are so crazy. And I mean crazy because they burn schools and they do a lot of crazy stuff.
Wow, that does sound crazy, Edson. Okay, and the point is that what religion do they subscribe to?
Well, they are Catholics, but they are like really radical. So yeah, but they are just crazy because there are a lot of politicians that ended up no. So there's a lot of interest there. It's not just religion, and they're also love. I think the leaders are taking advantage of the ignorance of the people because they are scared. The leaders are always telling them that they're gonna die if they don't obey and things like that. You can check on Vice. There's a really cool report about this issue. They are just crazy. They are so crazy.
All right. So that's interesting. I never knew that, Edson, about Mexico. All right. Let's see what Rafael has to say about Brazil.
I know that some southern states in which there are more European descendants. I think they tried at least once emancipate from the rest of Brazil, because they started to impose their culture, their European culture there, and not only cultural but social, economic. I think they consider themselves more more prepared to rule a country without influence of other states. But I think they couldn't proceed with their attempt of emancipating because there's a lot of pressure of other states, and in the end they couldn't split the country.
Mhm. All right. Did you know about that, Carlos?
Further meeting?
Pardon?
Yeah, pardon.
Oh, you were asking me, sorry. Did you hear what Raphael just said?
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, he was talking about a certain area of the country which has more European descendants wanting to split off. Were you aware of that, or do you know of any other situations in which part of Brazil wanted to leave the rest of Brazil?
Oh yeah, that is exactly what it happens in some regions of Brazil, mainly in the south and in São Paulo sometimes too. It's
But they're not. Yeah.
It's a pretty common discussion that once in a while it like, how can I say? Sometimes it's back and forth at times, and sometimes it disappears, and 2 years later ahead it's come back again.
So it's a reoccurring sort of issue, really. Okay, thank you, Carlos. I'm just going to see if Aldona's there before we move on.
Yes, I'm here.
Yay, Aldona, welcome back. Yes, I can. All right, so your question is, Aldona, are you aware of any sort of separatist movements in Poland whereby certain people or a part of the country wanted to split or anything like that?
My country, I think, has the worst position in the world because we are between two big countries like Russia and Germany.
Yep.
And these two countries always dreamed about eliminate my country and divide our land into between themselves. Yes. And there are people that would like to return to Germany, and there are some that would like to return to Russia.
And what's your opinion, Aldona?
I think it's a stupid idea. We should protect our identity and we should be as we are.
All right. Yeah. I think my opinion is on Scotland is that I actually really like the fact that the UK is kind of a team. So I really hope that Scotland doesn't leave the UK. I think a lot of countries have these issues going on, but my personal opinion is really that within a country there are a lot of different cultures and there are a lot of different identities. I don't think that that is necessarily a reason to split the country. I think that it's better in some senses to work as a team and try and I suppose because I'm English, this is my opinion, because the government's sort of based in my part of the country, but I really hope that Scotland stays with us. I prefer that idea. All right, let's continue reading. Raphael, your turn to read, please, from Richard III.
Richard III, 1483 to 1485. Infamous for supposedly killing his two nephews in order to take the throne in the Princess in the Tower mystery. the last English king to die on the battlefield at the Battle of Bosworth Field in 1485.
Good. Keep going.
Henry the Sixth. Not the sixth. Henry
Eighth.
the
Eighth.
Yes, 1509 to 1547. Perhaps one of the England's most famous rulers, Henry married 6 times, beheaded 2 of his wives, and divorced another 2. Oh man. He famously broke with the Catholic Church and destroyed many of England's churches and monasteries in the English Reformation that made the country a Protestant nation under the Church of England.
Thanks, Raphael. We're going to pause here, because Henry VIII could possibly be the most famous king in our history. I'm sure that every child at primary school knows about him. There's even a rhyme about his wives, if I can remember it. But yeah, he had 6 wives, killed 2 of them, divorced 2, and he changed the whole country's religion because it didn't suit him. So he's pretty infamous from that respect. So have you guys ever heard of Henry VIII?
Yes, he was very, very fat.
Yeah, that's true, Aldona. He's in a lot of portraits looking quite fat and ugly. That's true. Okay, so I want to ask you guys now. We've already talked about someone who's sort of important to your country, but who is probably the most infamous? So by infamous, I mean somebody who's famous but not particularly for a good thing, for something bad or something slightly controversial that they did. Do you have a very infamous ruler in your history? Aldona, how about Poland?
Yes, we had a king like this, but unfortunately I don't remember his name. But he accepted money from Sweden, Swedish,
Sweden.
to
Yep.
Sweden to occupy our land, to live here and to occupy it. Yes.
Okay, and how long were the Swedes in your country for? Do you know?
Some years. I don't know exactly how many years it was, but.
All right, so he was infamous for letting the Swedes come and live in Poland. And who received the money? Him? Did he buy lots of castles?
Yes. He received money. Okay, Swedish occupied our country. They destroyed our culture, our houses, our people.
Oh no.
This kind of occupation. It wasn't just they came here to live and everything was okay, but they wanted our country to convert into other Sweden.
Another Sweden. Sweden 2.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh dear. Okay, well that's definitely an infamous ruler. Thanks, Aldona. Edson, anybody in Mexico who's infamous?
Yeah, I think it's Carlos Salinas de Gortari. He ruled Mexico from 1988, I guess, to 1994, and he is the most infamous Mexican ruler because he signed the TLC. I don't know how to say this. So the thing that makes the United States able to trade with Mexico.
Maybe a treaty? We call it a treaty?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, so he's really hated because of that, and also because he made private a lot of Mexican companies. So everything went up prices. And yeah, so at the end of his time, Mexico was really poor, and all the people was really concerned about the future of everyone. So he's the most hated person. Yeah, he's still alive, and people still hating him.
Well, that's Henry VIII. Luckily, is not still alive, but very knowledgeable you are, Edson. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's ask Carlos. Carlos, who is the most infamous Brazilian leader or ruler? Carlos?
He's
No?
gone.
He's disappeared. All right, Raphael.
Yes.
Well, we had lots of infamous Brazilian leaders. Um, I think there is no news that Brazilian is a sea of corruption, and everything knows about that. I think one of the most infamous rulers in recent years was a president called Fernando Collor. He ruled Brazil from 1992, when he suffered an impeachment. One of his first measures while he's ruling is suspends all savings, appropriate from all savings from people, and everything our inflation rates soared up during this mandatory, and people were not able to buy anything
Oh dear.
due to these measures, and there's a lot of corruption during his mandatory, and everything hated everything hated him since then.
Okay. So one of the main problems was the inflation rate, you say?
Inflation, corruption, and the savings. He appropriated from the savings of people. People
Okay.
weren't able to withdraw his savings in the bank.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
That was a very unpopular measure of his government.
Okay, it's interesting. I'm just gonna ask one more time if Carlos is there. Are you there, Carlos? No? Alright, what we will do is continue reading just a little bit more. We've got a few more minutes. Let's move on. So we divide up the British sort of history into phases, I guess you could say. Henry VIII was a Tudor, and his sort of family were called the Tudors. His daughter Elizabeth I was also really famous, and you'll see probably portraits of her. She's got like a very white face. She used to put some kind of stuff on her face that actually I think was poisonous. But in portrait, she always has a really, really white face, because apparently, if you had a tan, then it showed that you worked outside in the field. So the whiter you were, the higher born you were. All right, I'll get Aldona. Are you still there? Could you read Elizabeth I, please?
Yes, Elizabeth the first, from 1558 to 1603. Daughter of Henry VIII, Elizabeth was an astute ruler who led England to victory over the Spanish, the strongest rulers of the age. She never married, and so she became the fifth and last Tudor monarch. Many people consider her to be one of England's greatest rulers.
Thank you. Keep going, Charles I. Can you keep reading, Aldona?
Yes, okay. Sorry. Charles I, 1625 to 1649. The last years of Charles' rule were marked by the English Civil War, in which he was defeated twice. He was eventually imprisoned and executed for high treason in 1649. The monarchy was abolished and England became known as the Commonwealth of England. The Commonwealth was ruled by Oliver Cromwell, who served as Lord Protector of England, Scotland and Ireland for the next 11 years, until Charles II restored the monarchy in 1660.
Thanks, Aldona. So Elizabeth I was considered a really great queen because she did a lot of good stuff. She beat the Spanish, which we're always happy about. Haha, no. We have continual arguments with most of Europe, but it's a friendly argument. And then we have the Charleses. So Charles I was hopeless. He ended up losing the whole monarchy, and we became a Commonwealth for a short time. And this guy called Oliver Cromwell, who was not a very nice guy, took over, and there was a really horrible civil war. And then Charles II managed to get it all back together. And those two always portrayed it in portraits with like this big sort of long black curly hair. So it's kind of funny how the fashion and things change. But if you see sort of really, really long, permed, almost curly black hair, that will be one of the Charleses. All right, so Edson, you've asked me which of these monarchs I like best. I don't know. I think that's really impossible. Maybe Henry VIII, just because he was so infamous and kind of crazy, and he had 6 wives. And I just want to, just before we have to finish in a moment, guys, there are some really good, if you're interested in history and in the monarchy and that kind of thing, there are some really good documentaries or series about them. One of them is called The Tudors, and it's actually about Henry VIII. It's like a drama, a TV series. It's definitely worth watching. It's pretty good. It's a good way to practice your English and probably increase your vocabulary because they all speak very poshly. And keep your eye out for that one. Do you guys have any questions about anything before we have to go?
Are you for a monarchy?
Am I from a monarchy? Yeah, I'm from the UK, so technically, yes.
Okay, interesting.
I actually quite like having a royal family. I think it's sort of one of those things that brings our country together a little bit. It's like they maybe are a bit useless, but in some ways it's something that you can have in common with the rest of your country. I'm not sure if people feel the same way about a president or a prime minister because they change all the time and it's all about politics, whereas the royal family is sort of a bit more about the history, the tradition, maybe some of the better things about the UK. I'm not sure if you could say better. But thanks, guys, for participating. It was really interesting talking to you.
Teacher, I just want to know if that is a hot topic in the UK.
A hot topic?
Yeah.
The royal family? It was recently.
No?
Because we had the Queen's Jubilee, where we celebrated, I think it was like 60 years of her coronation. And yeah, it was a hot topic. A lot of people were discussing whether we should get rid of them. But we haven't, so it's kind of good.
Okay, and you support it, so it's good.
Yeah, I kind of do support it, I think. I kind of like them.
Okay.
So, guys, take care. If you want to learn a bit more about grammar, we're going to be looking at prepositions in my next class. So do come on and join me if you would like to. Otherwise, have a great day or evening, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, teacher. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.